Welcome, everyone, to episode 6 of Sportishness.
Between weeks 13 and 14. Week 13 is wrapped up, and we're starting week 14 tomorrow, actually, with the Broncos game.
All right, so I did a little extra credit work preparing for this segment, which is I went through and did predictions, wins and scores on all the games that pertain to the top 6 seeds in both conferences. So starting with the AFC, the supreme pre-off game of the Texans at the Patriots. I see that being a 31-37 contest with the Texans winning.
Great.
They are completely evenly matched teams, but I think the Texans are just a little bit better. And neither team has huge defenses. I mean, I think they're going to be able to rack up some points.
I wouldn't disagree with that. It's a home game for the Patriots, which makes it a little harder for the Texans.
Right.
You know, especially depending on the weather up in New England.
You couldn't have a bigger study in contrast there between swampy Houston and frigid New England, but whatever.
Yeah, sure. No, I think that's a good score. If you're a Broncos fan, you want Houston to win here. We want to. Houston's unreachable in the AFC playoff seeding, but New
the
England
Pats
is not.
are not.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, go Texans.
Go Texans. In terms of the number 3 seed Ravens, they're playing at Washington. And I see that being a 28-23 contest with Washington winning. I think that they're going to edge them out. I think the Ravens might be in a little bit of a spin right now.
I think if you remove the 20s from the start of each of that game, that might be a more realistic score.
8-3?
8-3. 4 safeties, 1 field goal.
Right.
No problem.
Wow. Okay.
Or, 2 field goal safety, whatever. But if you're a Broncos fan, you're rooting for Washington. Baltimore's ahead of us. So there are 2 teams, these are 2 games that the teams ahead of us could definitely lose, and that will help move us up.
Exactly. Yeah, and this is another, pre-off game in the sense that, the Ravens need to play their heart out to maintain their position, and Washington needs to play their heart out to get a berth, a number 6 berth in the NFC. In terms of the number 4 spot currently, the Broncos are playing at Oakland. I see, the Broncos should utterly dominate in this game. The wheels have completely come off the bus in Oakland. I think it's so bad now. So they're in such a demoralized position, unfortunately for them, that I don't even think there's even necessarily playing for pride at this point. There's going to be some shakeups in that organization, and I think the Broncos should win 34-14.
Okay, no, I like that score. And if you're a Broncos fan, you should root for
the Broncos.
Right.
Okay. The Colts, number 5th seed, they're going to be playing Tennessee. It's going to be a home game for the Colts. I see Indianapolis taking that 27-24. I think it's going to be a close game. Neither team has a huge amount of defense. But I think that this is a place where Luck can prove himself to be, the game maker, and help to drag his team into that number 5 spot number 5 spot in the playoffs.
Okay, I don't think Tennessee will score that many points, but I think Colts will definitely win.
Next game, Steelers. Bengals playing Dallas at home. I see the Bengals winning that 34-27. I have absolutely no confidence in Dallas. I think Dalton is the better quarterback. I think that the Bengals have been on a streak. I think that Dallas's win last week was nothing to really talk about. And then Steelers playing San Diego. I see the Steelers losing to San Diego. I see San Diego actually pulling some pride out and winning 28-24.
Now, you've never been wrong on these picks as far as who wins and loses, but here's another case where I'm going to say I'm not sure how come they haven't fired North Turner yet. I'm not sure what San Diego's playing for. Both teams are really beat up. I think this is an ugly game.
It is going to be an ugly game.
And
you know what? I fully expect that one of those 24 points that the Steelers get is actually going to be a pick.
Okay.
So, because
it's funny enough. I think Phil Rivers is going to tighten up. It's the end of the season. People aren't going to remember the first 12 games, but they will remember the last 4. If he goes past crazy, starts throwing picks, he'll be out of a job.
Right.
So I think he'll play ultra conservative. Chargers won't score any points at all because everybody's terrified of losing their jobs. And the Steelers will win like 12-0 or 12-3 or something horrible.
Okay, so over on the NFC side, number 1 seed, the Falcons, they're playing at Carolina. This should be a blowout. This should be a blowout, but it won't because the Falcons, for some reason, like playing close games. I see it being 21-24 with the Falcons winning, but I think that the Falcons are going to allow Carolina and Cam Newton to make it entirely too interesting.
Okay.
Number 2 seed game, 49ers playing Miami at home. I see the 49ers taking that 20-16. But you know what? Which 49ers team are we talking about? Are we talking about the one that blew out the Bears 32-7? Or are we talking about the one that lost to the Rams 16-13? I don't know. And unfortunately, the Rams game is more indicative of what the team currently is because that happened just recently.
Okay, fair enough.
But Miami also, made things, as I've said multiple times now, pretty interesting for the Patriots. So, Packers the Detroit at Packers. I see the Packers taking that 37-31. I am a fan of Matt Stafford at Detroit. I'm surprised that they're having the rough season that they are. But I think the Packers at this point are playing for a number 2 seed.
Do you think everybody's going to get off the field on the Packers side without being kicked in sensitive areas?
Kicked in the face?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Moving on.
Moving on, yes. Moving on.
New Orleans at the Giants.
Yes, New Orleans at the Giants. I see that being 31-27 Saints, actually. I think the Giants are going to... it's always a question of which Giants and which Saints. The Saints have, I think, had a remarkable season given all the controversy they faced this year. But the Giants, I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence in the Super Bowl champions right now.
Fair enough.
Number 5th seed, the Bears at the Vikings. I see the Vikings actually winning that game, 21-17. I see it being a old school grind fest, like Lombardi would look at this game and smile.
Fair enough. With no Earl Acker, makes it possible to run in the middle. And
Yeah.
what do the Vikes do? They run.
Yep.
So
Let's see. Seahawks playing Arizona. It's going to be a home game for Seahawks. I see that being a 28-10 stomp. The Seahawks are on the rise. Arizona's hapless. I mean, it's just...
What did you say, 2,810 to nothing? Because
Yes.
that's kind of what I'm thinking this might be.
Let's see. The Buccaneers, the Philadelphia Eagles play the Buccaneers at Buccaneers at Tampa, and I see that being 31-21. I think that's... I think Tampa is a considerably better team than the Eagles, even though the Eagles are feeling pretty juiced up. But you know what? The X factor on that game is how well that running back, the fumble-prone running back is.
Sure.
So just to wrap up here, I think that we both agree that not much is really going to change with the AFC. We kind of really with a Patriots loss and a Ravens loss, that would open up things completely for the Broncos to occupy that number 2 seed. So,
So I think we're pretty much on the same page, which we were on last week on the AFC.
Right.
I want the Broncos to win. I want New England to lose and Baltimore to lose, but I'm not really confident in that.
Right.
Given all the way down the stretch. So I think that's pretty clear. The NFC, I think we've changed a little bit. So basically, I think the change that you're making from last week is that you're bumping Washington out of the 6 and
Yes.
putting Seattle in the 6th
Yeah.
spot. So on my end, I'm gonna change my seating actually a great deal, mostly because of that Seattle win. When Seattle beat the Bears, I think that really shook things up. I had no idea that was going to happen. I would not have bet money on that. So I'm gonna change it up a little bit because of the Seattle win, because of the situation in San Francisco evolving the way it has. I'm going to go with Atlanta at the 1 spot, Seattle at the 2 spot. Okay. So from nobody to the 2 seed. This, of course, by the end of the season. Then the Bears, the Giants, because somebody's got to win the NFC East, and whoever does will have the worst seeding of the division winners. Then San Francisco, and last will be Green Bay. And like you, I've bumped Washington out. I think they've just lost one game too many, and Seattle really threw a monkey wrench into everything for everybody. So,
yeah, no doubt. I mean,
of course, next week I could be calling Dallas, Tampa, Minnesota, St. Louis, Detroit. Who knows? Depending on how our playoffs go.
Exactly.
So I'm reserving the right to make a change, but I'm saying Seattle's coming on strong, and Washington's coming on strong too. But they may have waited just one game too many to really make an honest run at it. They have to depend on too many other teams to slide in now.
All right.
So, is that it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick pat for now. Although, the chance of Seahawks continuing their Cinderella run and knocking the 49ers out entirely is...
Yeah, they could definitely, the flip the script on that.
Yeah.
All right. So, John?
And Jonathan.
Thank you for watching. Enjoy good football.
All right. See ya.
Bye.